Hi, this is Rudy and I'm coming to you today with a short update on our PPP second round loan application. So I'm just going to give you a really brief overview of what we did, and every bank is going to be different. So you need to really, go online, see what the applications look like. They'll give you a list of documents that you need, and please do go over that list. Make sure you have, what they need before you start the application, because then it goes really smooth and you can get your application in and cross your fingers and they'll either approve you or not. And in case they don't approve you, you can always go to like a broker like Cabbage or K-Line or K-Service through American Express, and try your application at different banks. Anyways, so let's get started. Let's dig into the nuts and bolts. The Paycheck Protection Program (PPP) is now available to any bank, or I should say all banks that are SBA approved. So what you want to do is you want to pick a bank of your choice, and as you'll note that each bank is going to have a different interface for you to put your information in. And at this point here, I'm looking at Cross River, which is what we used, and they had a pre-approval kind of, not really pre-approval. They had a pre-application prior to the opening, and that's what I'm showing you here. So I went along and put the information in. So at this window I clicked Apply Now. That brings me to the next page, which is, according to the SBA Paycheck Protection Program, they'll be open to all lenders beginning Tuesday, January 19, which was 2 days ago, and Cross River is unable to submit any completed applications, and I found out later, which is not in this fine text, that it's going to be tomorrow or January 22nd or 23rd when they're going to open it to all the banks, and that's when the application actually gets sent to the SBA. What's nice about applying through the banks is that they'll go over the application and try to find any errors before they send it to the SBA, and I hopefully in the hopes that they're going to ask you anything that they need and ask you to fill in the blanks, and so that there's less errors and less problems, and hopefully a better chance of an approval on the first run. So anyways, you put in your information, your legal name, and as you can see under the helpful hints, and I'm going to jump over to the side, it says use Google Chrome with Cross River Bank. And so at this point, you're going to be looking at, just filling in your basic information, your employee ID number. You want to have your, your NAICS number. And like us, we're a sole proprietor with employees, and it's a child care, which is NAIC code number 624410. We are not franchised. We did have a previous PPP loan, so that's the reason why we're doing it through this route. And our first PPP loan was through the same bank, through Cross River, which we did applying through Cabbage, which was a broker, and then it went to Cross River. So after that, it's going to take you to the next page. Now that we're on to the next page, as you can see, a lot of this information should be, pretty basic. And you should have a file with all this information in it, whether it be a PDF folder with, all your business information. But you should have this pretty much ready. And as you can see here, now we're on to the business information, and which has to do with the owners. What percentage are you, ownership do you have? Preferably 100%. No partners, and if your wife is working or your husband is working in the daycare, or is part of it, then you should choose the woman. Because as a woman-owned, you'll have a better chance of being approved. So, minority is great if you're Hispanic. But, I'm beginning to think that, you have to play all your cards to try to get your loans and, to have your business survive. We all are trying to get through this. And, from there, you want to just, scroll down. It's going to ask you for your social, personal information, date of birth, cell phone, what position you're, if you're a veteran, great. That's, another great card to play. Again, your gender, your race, ethnicity. And it's kind of odd that it doesn't have like a straight up Hispanic. You have to click white, and then it gives you Hispanic after that. So you need to keep an eye out for that, and try to use any possible way to play the minority card. It helps. I think it helps a lot, especially in a small business. Then as you scroll down, you're going to see, like owner 1 home address. Depending if there's multiple owners, it's going to ask you, like for each address. And it's very important that you be thorough and fill in all the blanks as possible, so that there's no questions later. And from here you just click next. On the next page, it's the questionnaire. It's also going to give you your save key, which is a token that's going to be able, you can cut and paste, which you'll get in an email too, but you can send it, you can click on it, or you can cut and paste it into a window and keep on going from where you left off in case your internet cuts off. So anyways, hopefully none of you have been, convicted of any crimes, but you have to read each one and make sure that, that you're honest, because it all comes out in the end. And something that was really important is you read the note at the top. So it talks about if you answer yes on 6 or 8, that, it'll automatically be declined. So you want to make sure that you go over your information very carefully, that you choose a quarter that is going to be at least 25% decline in revenue, which is the amount of money that you made. In other words, if you are on a subsidy program or your bank records, however you do your accounting, you need to show that your gross revenues were less by 25%. So you have to choose a quarter, whether it's the first quarter of 2019, and compare it to the first quarter of 2020, and you just go one by one, print them out. If you use QuickBooks, it's easy. You print them out and you compare them, and you look for that 25% difference of revenue, and that's the one that you want to choose. So once you get to that point, be ready to print it all. And and then it's going to ask you to click it, and I'm sure at some point they're going to ask us to prove it. So always be prepared to prove whatever you put into these documents. And the next part is, now we're getting down to the details. It's going to ask you, what will this loan be used for? I checked off almost everything except property damage. That was primarily for, like the riots that were happening. Then they ask about your previous SBA loan ID, which I gave them my PPP one. And then from there, how do you file taxes? I use an accountant, so I had to use other. My annual gross payroll amounts, I get all this information from my payroll company. They provide a document that says, Gusto, and it gives you all the totals, and it has the PPP button, and you just click it and you choose the period that you chose, like quarter 1, 2, 3, and it brings all that information over, and it gives you everything to put into each line. But if you do it the old-fashioned way, then you're going to have to dig out your 940s from 2019, get your totals, and then bring up, for 2020, you want to have that in there. And then it's asking you on the next line. So after you get past the 940, the next line, it talks about your self-employment income. In other words, your 1040. And it even says, refer to line 31 on your Schedule C. So you look at your line 31, which is your gross revenue, after your business expenses, and it's before your personal. So that's where, what they're looking for is anything that's related to the business. And this is your business income. I've also heard of people dividing that by 12 months to come up with your personal income if you don't have any employees, but I don't know about that, but it's possible. And then it asks you for if you report a partnership, which we did not. And again, read the instructions is very important. On the next line, it talks about your payroll calculations. Again, I get this information from Gusto, from our payroll company, and you can get it from ADT or any of them. But it'll ask you, like for, in my case, it was 2019, and I also have 2020, but it asks you like how much you spent on, vacation pay, local taxes, the total loan request amount, which is like automatically calculated for you, and you really don't have to do very much. It's not like the old way, like when you went into the bank, last year, and I think it was like in May, it was April or May that we applied for the first round, and we had to like calculate everything on a spreadsheet. So they've really, taken the guesswork out of it. They're giving you the numbers up front. And this is what, what you're going to be looking for. Then as you scroll down, you're going to continue, it's going to ask you for the quarters that you're verifying, like for your loss of revenue. And again, this is very, very important that you keep your books in order, that you make this information like readily available, because at any given time they can ask you for it. I would strongly suggest using QuickBooks Pro, not just the online thing, but use QuickBooks Pro. You can have an outside bookkeeping company just keeping track of it for you, which is kind of like what I do right now is I keep track of the books, and I use QuickBooks Pro, and it gives me all that information up front. Then, after you've chosen your quarters, it's going to ask you to upload this information, and but that's coming up on the next page. Anyways, here it's just going to ask you for your routing info and how to get the money to you, and obviously that's personal. So let's go to the next page. Now, as we go to the next page, it talks about basically you're confirming everything. You want to look over each square, make sure that you have the right type of business, make sure that your address is correct. It's going to talk about, ask you about the loan information. You just it's just a review page. And then as you scroll down, it's saying that you agree to all terms, you confirm your identity. It's like, this is easy money. I mean, if this is all you got to do. Then as you scroll down, again, it's going to ask you to show like the information that you've uploaded. I didn't show the upload page because that's kind of personal. But anyways, on the upload page, it was asking to upload the driver's license. We decided on like bank statements, the 940. I also included a payroll report. The proof of our business, which was our license to do business, and that was really it. So that's it for the slideshow. So anyways, I really wish you guys the best. Each application is going to be different, whether you're a corporation or with employees, without employees. There are ways to actually do it even if you don't have employees, and I can find out more details to be exact. But God, if you have employees, this is really for you, because you should have your payroll reports done. You should be able to have all your taxes ready to go, and profit and loss reports like good to go, because they're not asking for much. They're not even asking you to put your house on, like for collateral or anything. This is a 1% loan. Even if you don't use it for payroll expenses, keep the money, pay 1%, pay them back in 5 years. So be careful if you're going to do that, because that's a lot of money to pay back in 5 years. So I wish you all the best. If you guys have any questions, please email me. Do your due diligence. Borrow what you can pay, or what you're going to get forgiven. So we're going for forgiveness, and I think most of us are. And good luck. And as I find out any more information, I'll try to post it, or put it out there for you guys to find. All right? Okay, bye.